Hi, welcome to Film Music Mentor. Today's topic, how to speak composer. How to speak composer. Well, a lot of us, I shouldn't say a lot of us, a lot of you, when working on your films and you deal with a composer, sometimes it can be intimidating. Musicians, they have their own language, they have their own vocabulary, they're kind of weird, they do their thing, and I can't do it. So dealing with a composer can be difficult or intimidating because, basically they're doing the job that you can't do. They're writing the music that you would write if you could, but you can't, so you have them. And a lot of times, filmmakers will use the same composer over and over again because they develop a shorthand, they develop a language and understanding between them, and and a trust and a friendship often, and it's just a wonderful bond when it happens. So there's four things to think about when learning to speak composer. So it's a little bit of a trick. You don't have to learn to speak composer. So one, don't use musical terminology. Don't use musical expressions. Don't try to fake your way through the musical language. First of all, different musicians speak different dialects. Different things mean different things to different kinds of musicians. So don't even go there. Don't don't be like, oh, we need a crescendo here, and I want to move from the key of D minor to D flat, or don't do any of that. Don't worry about it. The onus of that is on the composer, not on you. You're off the hook. Okay? Don't read any books about it. You can watch Film Music Mentor, but don't try to get a degree in music or some vast education. But know the music that you like. That's a big help. Okay, so one, don't use musical terminology. Two, speak in plain language. Just speak everyday speech the way that you would every day about anything else you would in the film to any of the other members of your team. Three, use lots of feeling words and adjectives. It's much more helpful if you can use many, many, many adjectives. So, for example, if you say, I want the score to be dark, okay? That limits an endless possibility of possibilities. If you say, I want it to be dark and suspenseful, well, now it's a lot more narrow. If you say, I want it to be dark, suspenseful, slow, sparse, percussive, atmospheric, scary, all of a sudden, my choices are very, very, very limited and limited from a lot of choices, mind you. So, the thing about any kind of art is, yeah, there are limitless possibilities, but real art flourishes with boundaries and rules that we can bend and stretch. That's where the real creativity happens. Doing a film where you push boundaries and excite people, that's where it's at. So the same is true for music. When we have limitations, it actually spurns the creativity in the composer or the artist in general. So when you use feeling words, I want something sad but bittersweet. I want something mournful, regretful. Even just say emotions or feelings that come up. This scene's about regret. This scene's about loss. This scene's about love. This scene's about joy. This scene's about whatever it's about. And that simple human inter-exchange of ideas is worth more than any kind of musical banter. So use adjectives, use lots of them. I recommend seven. If you can come up with seven adjectives for how you want the music to be in a particular scene or a particular, or for the whole score in general, you don't have to do this with every scene. If you have a film, you may have 40 music cues and you don't want to come up with that many um, what is it, 280 adjectives. You don't want to do that, right? So but once you get a few cues in there and you get your signature sound and the way you want the film to feel and sound, and once the composer's on his way, you know it gets to be a lot more easygoing later on in the process. But in the beginning, it's good. Lots of adjectives. Seven is a great. Think about the way you want to feel. You want the audience to feel, because here's the thing: when you listen to songs tend to be about one emotion. And most of us listen to songs. That's the musical experience of our recreational lives when we're driving, when we're at home. Generally, we're listening to that. We're listening to songs. Sometimes we listen to classical music. Sometimes we listen to maybe music to meditate, maybe music to relax. But primarily, we listen to songs. And songs are generally about one thing. Musical scores like films, they're worlds unto themselves. They're organisms. They have multiple emotions, conflicting emotions, compound emotions, simultaneous emotions. And the music in film, and one of the reasons why instrumental music is so great in film, is because there are no lyrics to really gear us towards feeling a certain way. There's an ambiguity in that instrumental music that makes it so much more potent. And so, again, let's think about at least 7 adjectives and as many feeling words as possible. Okay, so number 4, give examples if you can. If you can take scenes from movies and say, I want something like this, or certainly record, just audio recordings, that's great too. But be specific. I like this instrument. I like the pace. I like the tempo, which is the speed of the music. I like this tune. I like the way this orchestra is. I like this sound. And even if you don't know what instruments it is, the composer can figure that out. So try to give them some specific examples and it should work out great. So let me just go over the 4 things again. First, number 1, avoid musical terminology. 2, speak in plain everyday language. 3, use lots of adjectives, 7 adjectives, lots of feeling words of emotions, happy, sad, bittersweet, whatever those words are. And lastly, provide examples and be specific what you like in those examples. So the good news, you don't need to speak another language, and this should help you in your next film score. Thank you for joining me on Film Music Mentor.